Dostlarım selamlar, Orbis TV kanalına hoş geldiniz. Dwars'a kaldığımız yerden devam ediyoruz. Cücelerin fantastik dünyadaki hikayesine, Tungdil'in macerasına kaldığımız yerden devam ediyoruz. Ekibimiz 8 kişi ulaştı. Özelliklerine şöyle bir bakalım. Şu Boyendal, yani şu vuruşu muhteşem. Boyendal'ın hasarı 300. Bu arkadaşın da zıplaması var, bir de şu da çok iyi. Bavragor. Bunun da iyi. O savurması Bavragor'un hasar olarak çok iyi. Şu arkadaş biraz bizden yana değil. Şu arkadaş, ilişkimiz biraz kötü bunlarla. Şöyle Goimgar Rodario. Bu arkadaş Rodario gizli bir bıçakla saldırır. Kılık değiştirmiş vaziyette ise maskesi düşmez. Rodario düşman kılığına girer ve bir düşman açıkça saldırıncaya dek yalnız bırakılır. Allah Allah. Ateş kusan. Rodario bileğindeki bir aletten ateş püskürür. 750 hasarı. Şunun 1450. Direkt assassin bu ya. Bu arkadaş Narmora. Bunun yetenekleri nasılmış? Narmora savaş alanında hissedilen bir bölgede hızlıca ve fark edilmeden yürür. Olabilir. Narmora o kadar hızlı olur ki her ikinci darbeden kurtulabilir. Narmora bir düşmanı hızlı saldırılar düşman ölünceye veya 10 darbe indirinceye dek vurur. Bu şeyinkine benziyor. Boyumdal'ınkine benziyor. Bu kimmiş? Furgas. Pasif yeteneği Furgas leş başına bir yerine 2 MP kazanır. Tamam. Zehirli dart. Furgas bir hedefe devamlı olarak çok hasar veren bir dart fırlatır. Bu takım çok daha iyi oldu ya bu takım. Sadece orkların ve köpeklerin duyabileceği tizlikte bir ses çıkaran bir cihaz. Yakınlardaki orklar paniğe kapılırmış. Düşman yere düşer. Abi bu Furgas benim adamım olur ya böyleyse. Çarptığı anda patlayan bir dart fırlatır. Hedefi yakabilir. Adamsın bak Furgas. Şu arkadaşı çıkartırsak şu ikizler kalsın ya. İkizleri seviyorum. Boyundil'e de alıştık aslında ama Boyundil'in tamam. Furgas'ı kullanacağız. Şu şeyi de sevdim aslında şunu. Rodario ve Furgas şöyle ikisini yapıp Boyendal'la beraber süsleyebiliriz. Neyse. Yolculuğumuza kaldığımız yerden devam edebiliriz artık. Evet. Nereye gidelim? Birincillerin Krallığına gidecektik. Şu First Link Kingdom'a gideceğiz. Yolumuzun şu arkadaşın ork sürüsü. Şöyle
In the
ilerleyelim.
evening, after your escape from Mifadania, you recover from your exertions around a campfire. Goimgar withdraws to a solitary corner. Bavragor, Namora and
Cüceler ve
Fergus
şu
exchange hugs and kisses on
peynirleri.
the other side of the fire, while Rodario sits next to you.
Ah, a journey with real dwarves to the stronghold of the firstlings. I'm sure I can write.
Bahset. Orklar aramıza bir günlük mesafe koyduk. Bundan sonra ne yapmayı planlıyorsun? Metamorfozların oldukça etkileyiciydi. Hiç böylesini görmemiştim. Birincileri tanıyor musun? Kalelerine giden yolu biliyor musun? Geceyi kamp kurup geçirmeli ve sabahleyin yolculuğumuza devam etmeliyiz.
Do you know anything about the
Birincileri tanıyor
firstlings?
musun diye bir
No one
soralım.
has seen the firstlings for hundreds of cycles, but there are many stories about them. Their craftsmanship is much vaunted, and there used to be trade via a narrow path that led into the mountains. But I don't think there is a man living.
Biz insan değiliz sonuçta. Metamorfozların
I must
onları
congratulate you on your
övelim.
skills.
İlişkimizi
Find it hard to believe that it's not achieved by magic.
güçlendirelim. Rodario'yla.
Ah, thank you, but I assure you it has nothing to do with magic. Just alchemy and accomplished acting. We leave the sorcery to the magi.
Don't mention them. There's no love lost in Andakai and her walking iron tower.
Andokai.
You've met Andokai the Tempestuous? That is unbelievable. How was she?
She ran away to the outer lands. A damn disgrace.
Kendince sebepleri vardı. Aynen. Biz
Adekai
daha çok
had her reasons to leave us.
birleştirici bir kral
She
olacağız
had already
olursak.
fought against
O yönde
Nodon and was
ilerlettiriyorum
unsuccessful.
Tung dili.
Furthermore, we wouldn't be here without her, and she told us about Keenfire.
Hoşgörülüyüz.
Andakai, the bringer of hope. I like that. I'll have to use that in my new piece.
True to his words, Rodario takes out his notebook and writes something down.
Orklar aramıza
Far
bir
enough
gün
away
mesafe
from
koyduk.
Mithadania. Perhaps we should part ways tomorrow
Koyduk.
morning.
Belki yarın sabah yollarımızı
Rodario
ayırırız.
jumps up and begins to gesticulate ostentatiously.
I think you have underestimated us.
We don't have time to look after a pack of jesters.
Rodario seems offended for a moment, but then he grins, turns away from the group, and raises his right arm. A jet of flame shoots out of
Aha.
his sleeve. The dwarves are startled and amazed by the brief spectacle.
And what do you say now, critical Mr. Dwarf?
Buna ne dersin
You're a magus.
Cüce
I don't
Efendi?
particularly like them either.
At the Curiosum, magic is my area of responsibility. There is a tube under his arm with a flint and a bag full of lycopodiella seeds. When he firmly presses the bag, the flint sprays sparks and the seeds shoot out. And there you have it.
Yani büyü
Magic
değil diyor.
fire.
Biz sadece
Masterly
teknoloji
work,
kullanıyoruz.
Fergus.
The Magister Technicus shows his appreciation with a nod of his head.
If they all have tricks like this up their sleeves, well, they might not be such a burden after all, Tungdil.
How are
Aynen.
you doing for provision?
We are happy to share what we have. It isn't very much, though. We have...
Food
Sorun
is sure
değil.
to be a problem on our journey. Winter's only just beginning to leave Wayan, and people will be keeping a tight grip on the stocks they do have because of the orc attacks.
We have to be frugal and organize as much food as we can. It wouldn't be much of a heroic story if we starved on the way to the firstlings.
Kesinlikle haklısın
Our
Rodario.
mission is to forge the legendary axe Keenfire and destroy the traitor Nodon. If you wish to accompany us through hunger, coldness, and danger, then do so. It's your decision.
Aslında şu
How could we not partake
Orklarla
in
karşılaşsak
such
mı
a
acaba?
story? Just
Şöyle
think
gelirse-
what a wonderful play we could make of it.
If we survive. I was hoping to only resurface once we reach the Red Range. Instead, we have a long journey and a dangerous climb ahead of us.
hayırlısı olsun
There
be
may
Tungdil.
be another way apart from the old trading route. A few years ago, an old man from the north
Wackenstein.
told me of a place called Wackenstein. Apparently, there is an old path there, older than the dwarven tunnels themselves.
Oradan geçeriz Wackenstein'dan.
Legends and stories. There's too much uncertainty. Let's just see what the next few days bring.
Anlaşılan yolumuz oraya doğru. Şu ork sürüsüne gitmek istiyorum aslında da. Gideyim mi ya? Oyunu şurada bir kaydedelim. Gidelim abi.
The all too familiar stench of tallow and grease
Hadi bakalım bebeğim. Şu furgası bir orada deneyelim. Şu arkadaşı çıkartalım. Furgası onun yerine işe alalım. Boyimdil bunda şeyi çok zor. Bavragor onu almayacağız. Şu arkadaşı alabiliriz aslında. Deneyelim.
Huh?
50 düşman öldür.
What is it?
Bayağı kötü durumda ya bu. Bir kahramanı öldürmememiz
Yes.
gerekiyor. Tamam.
Let's go
Biraz
there.
kendine gel. Boyndal. Biraz kendine gelsin diye arkadaşlar yani yoksa
Understand.
What is it?
Furgas'ın ne diyor? Furgas bir düşmanın üzerine bir ok fırlatır, düşman yere düşer. Zehirli dart, Furgas bilmem ne. Sadece orkların duyulacağı bilmem ne. Şunu atıp geleyim mi ben?
All right then. Why not? I'm on my way. Yes? What is it? Understood. Well, I'm on my way.
Glad.
Killed.
Ölmemiş ha. İyi misin Boyundal?
What is it?
Ben şunları bir çekeyim geleyim kendime ya.
All right then. Well, I'm on it.
This is going to be bloody.
I'm on my way.
Her neyse.
I can say, but I'm going to have to do this.
Yes? Understood. All right then. Why
Vile
not?
creature.
I'm on it. Welcome to the future.
And again.
Whoa!
Your demise was inevitable.
Vile
What is it?
creature. As good as
I
done.
understand.
On my way.
Pisliklere bak ha, atlaya atlaya gidiyorsun.
This is going to be bloody.
Pow! Another one bites the dust.
Glad.
As good as
I
done.
understand.
What is it?
Şu arkadaş.
Target in sight. Yes?
Özelliklerini öğreneyim diye biraz bakıyorum ama.
On my way.
Excuse me, but I'm going to have to do
Saldırın
it.
gençler, saldırın.
Stood by forever. On my
I
way.
understand.
I'm on it.
Ruckus.
Yes, understood.
Yes?
Well, all right then.
Another victory.
A victory for
Aynen.
technology.
Şu arkadaşın şunu kullanacağız.
Gladly.
As good as
I
done.
understand.
All right then.
Gladly.
On my way.
Huh?
Too easy.
At once.
Pow! Another one bites the dust. Yeah!
Understood.
Vile creature. I didn't hit you very hard.
At once.
Yeah!
Yok ol.
Pavrakas!
Yeah!
On my way. Yes?
There. Gladly.
Şuradan gidelim.
I understand. Excellent choice.
And again.
I'm on it.
Pleasure.
As good as done.
Gladly. Excuse me, but I'm going to have to do this. Yaha! Ah, I understand.
Oh, what bad luck for
On my
you!
way.
Choice.
Huh? On my way. At once.
Attack! Yeah!
Understood.
What is it?
Şu ne ha?
Welcome to the future.
Uh-huh. On my way.
Too easy!
Yes?
Ended goodbye forever!
Turgas yakala onu. Kaçmasına izin verme.
Yes?
Another
What is
victory.
it?
Understood.
As good as done!
Gladly.
All right then.
Choice.
As good as done!
Gladly.
I'm on it.
Pleasure!
Excuse me,
Goodbye
but I'm going to
forever.
have to do this.
At once. Pavrakas!
Attack!
Pavrakas!
Hadi.
On my way.
And again!
Understood.
Oh,
This is
what
going to
bad
be
luck for
bloody.
you!
On my way.
I understand.
Huh?
And again! On my way!
Glad.
I'm on it.
Goodbye forever!
Creature.
Oh,
This
what
is going to be
bad luck for
bloody.
you!
Birini şuraya yollayacağım.
As good as
I
done!
understand.
On my way!
Gladly.
Tüm değil. Dal.
Attack! Vile creature! What is it?
Ah.
On my way.
Vile creature!
At once.
Yeah!
Pavrakas!
Huh? Vile creature! All right, and again. On my
How
way!
many is that now?
Yes? On my way.
Attack!
At once.
I didn't hit you very hard.
Understood.
İyisin.
End it. On my way.
Yapıyorsun bu sporu.
Yeah.
Tungdil bravo.
Attack. And again.
Too easy.
Güzel. Biraz öğrenmek için biraz yavaş giriştim ama.
What the hell were those things?
Goimgar carefully pokes one of the dead little creatures with his sword, as if he fears it'll jump up and attack him.
Have you never defended your past, Simmerbeard? Those are Bognalum. Small, ugly, stinking, cowardly. Sound like anyone you know?
Goimgar looks angrily at Boindil and is going to reply, but Namora speaks first.
They are like little orcs. They are even more primitive and make up for their physical weakness through their sheer numbers. They live in caves all around here.
While the others talk about Bognalim, you examine a decorated ox skull that the orcs had with them. It wasn't made by them and somehow looks
Bir
valuable.
öküz kafası
You
aldık şu an
pocket it.
yanımıza. Tamam. Ne bu? Ne veriyorsun bana? Bavragor'un bir sıra boyunca önünde yer alan düşmanları sersemletir diyor. Bir sıra boyunca Bavragor metrasındaki içkiyi yakar ve önündeki yarı çember içinde bulunan düşmanları ateşe verebilir. İşte benim tatlışım bu. Seni seçtim. Şu Kutup Dere'ye bir gidelim diyorum ben. 36 günlük erzağımız var. Kutup Dere'den sonra şurada 1 olur, 2, 3, 4 geri gelmemiz gerekecek. Ya da ileriye gideceğiz. Bu yolu zaten geride bıraktık gibi görünüyor. Şuradan gidelim. 1. Geçtiğimiz yollar... Yani gidebileceğimiz yollar ışık içerisinde. Öyle yapalım.
You are walking past an inconspicuous copse as Namora suddenly stops on the spot.
Wait!
Yine ne oldu
They
ya?
are not alone. Someone is watching us.
Tuzak mı?
Trap?
Die, scum!
What are you doing? Why are you attacking us? We're dwarves too. We're on the same side.
I see honest dwarves here, but they are accompanied by scum. I will free you of it!
Oh, really? And what are you going to do on your own against 8?
Hiç bence bir kişi gibi değil o.
Come here.
Bana mı diyorsun?
What? Ugh.
Brother, what are you doing?
Boindil, Boindil, what's wrong? Come to your senses.
It's no use. They belong to me.
Ama ben bir şey
Now
yapmadım
die,
ki ya.
scum.
Ama bu çok ayıp ya. Bunlar onlardan şimdi öyle mi? 1, 2, 3, 4 kişi aldı. Bakalım başlatalım hadi. 1 numara Tungdil, 2 numara Bavragor. Kardeşleri almasa iyiydi ya. Narmora var. Ve Furgas bizden Allah'tan 4 numarayla.
Huh? Favrakas! I'm not back! I can't do that yet.
Even I am not that quick.
On my way. Understood.
Yes, yes.
Almost
Ready soon.
Fine.
Hey,
Yes.
bit too many over here.
Even I am not that
Hadi.
quick.
I'm not that quick.
Bavragor.
Many
Let's go.
enemies.
Yes, yes. Soon. Of course. I'm not that quick. Let's go.
Goimgar do
Your demise was
Yeah.
inevitable.
Not like
Already done it.
Yes, yes.
At once. Good. In a moment.
That quick.
Favrakas! And again!
This is all your
Understood.
fault.
Öldürmemek istiyorum ama ben.
Yes, yes. Soon.
Favrakas!
I have
Understood.
Bowendahl. Give me a hand.
At once. Uh-huh.
I'm
On
on
my
my
way.
way.
Understood. Huh?
Bandit in sight.
Yes, yes. I'm
All
on.
right then.
Just a minute.
Uh-huh. At once.
What?
Well, I'm on my way.
Yeah? Yes, yes.
Yes.
Soon.
Yeah!
Just a minute. What? At once. Yes, yes. Soon.
What is it?
Just a
Şunu atayım.
minute.
I'm on
I
it.
can't hold them back.
Yes.
Already done it.
Allah Allah.
No sooner does the unknown dwarf fall unconscious to the floor than her control over your comrades disappears.
That was, I hope I didn't hurt you, Scholar.
It was as if in a dream, but at the same time, it wasn't. I heard her voice in my head, and although I knew better, I only saw orc.
Boindale
ork
goes
olarak
over to the
görmüşler.
shackled dwarf and kicks her gently with his boot.
This is never a child of the smith, even if she looks like one. Those gifts. By Vracus, there is something evil at work.
You kneel in front of the dwarf and press your axe against her
Adım
throat.
Chang
My
değil.
name is Tungdil.
Ağzımdakini
If I
çıkarırsam
remove your
sorularımı
gag,
yanıtlayacak
will you
mısın?
answer some questions?
The captive nods, and you
Evet
pull
diyor
the
başıyla.
gag out of her mouth.
Geralda is my name. It would seem I underestimated
İyi
you.
de neden yani? Biz sana bir şey yapmadık ki ya. Bu güçle neden aldın? Böyle şeyler yapabilen bir cüce ne duydum ne de gördüm. Pislikten kastın nedir mi? Hangi krallıktansın? Bir de Veyurn'dan işin ne?
Your powers, I've never heard of
Hiç böylesini
Neither have
görmemiştim.
I haven't had them for long. When I try to remember, all I see is black mist, and I taste iron and mud, and there's an elf who... Ugh.
Did the Alfar give you these powers?
When I try to remember, it hurts, like needles sticking into my head. I am Geralda Bloodstone. I was...
Sakin sakin. Geçecek. Pislikten kastın nedir
You
diye.
said something about scum when you attacked us. Has Namora done anything to harm you?
Not her, but her kind. Alpha.
She is a human. She only acts at being an elf in theatre.
In the theatre.
For the first time, Geralda looks at Namora without a hateful expression.
She must die.
Hayır ya niye? Hangi krallıktansın
Where have
diyelim.
you come from and what brings you to Wayan?
I was on my way to the Free Folk. They are said to live in the middle of Girdlegard, without kingdoms or their laws.
The free folk? You mean dwarves?
Yes, dwarfs who have left their kingdoms, voluntarily or otherwise. Not everyone has a place in their kingdom.
You instinctively think of your own plight. You are not a secondling, and won't be welcome among the fourthlings since you placed obstacles in their king's path.
Don't believe this nonsense, Scholar. The free folk are just a fairy tale that people tell themselves when they don't want to stick to the traditions. Just look what good it's done Geralda.
Geralda prepares to reply, but then she holds back.
Enough talk. She is dangerous, probably crazy. She attacked us, we should put an
yes.
end to her.
Öyle bir şey yok.
It's what you call amnesia, memory loss, a tool often used in stage productions. We don't know what happened to her, and maybe she doesn't either. We can't just kill her.
Aslan Rodario. Gitmesine izin... Onu da yanımızda götürelim diyelim. Bence
She's
yanımızda
too
götürelim.
dangerous just to let go, so we'll take her with us. Remove the fetters.
You nip any objection in the bud and turn to Geralda.
Listen, I don't know what has happened to you, but we are dwarves and we shouldn't fight against one another. We could do with your help.
The female dwarf seems just as surprised by your decision as your companions.
Thank you. I would be happy to accompany
İşte bu.
you. I am
Giralda.
Geralda Bloodstone, of the Fourthling Kingdom.
Dördüncüllerdenmiş.
I'm sorry that I attacked you.
You realize that your decision doesn't please everyone. Boindale and Namora seem particularly upset. But they hold back, and you continue on your way, a slightly gloomy mood hanging over the group.
Kasvete ihtiyaç yok. Şimdi dur. Level 10'da bu. Çok güzel. İşte benim kızım. Level 10. Demek ki full gibi duruyor şu an. Aha. Boindle sağlığı elden az olan düşmanların kafasını keser. %50'den fazla olanlara çok miktarda hasar verir. O güzel. Önüne çıkan tüm düşmanlara hasar verebilir. Bence bu daha iyi ya. Seni seçtim. 2 kat MP kazanır. Bu oyunda kısa süren tüm saldırılara %50 daha çok hasar verir. Şunu seçeriz. Daha pasif bir yetenek. 9'da olmayacak. 10'uncuda 10 alacak. Tamam. Sen ne diyorsun? Tongdil ve yakınındaki kahramanlar kısa süren %25 daha çok hasar verir. Bu güzel. Düşman öldürdüğünde 2 kat MP kazanır. 2 kat MP kazanır. Seni seçiyorum. Şurada Kutup Dere'ye bir gidelim.
Your path leads you to a small fishing village on the banks of Lake Ontario. The villagers are busy and don't pay you much attention, apart
Balıkçı bizi
from a
görmüş.
fisherman on a boat who nods at you before returning to his nets. You can just about make out a jetty on the other side of the lake.
Balıkçı ile konuşalım.
Excuse me, my name is Tungdil. Can you ferry us across to the other side?
The fisherman looks across the lake to the jetty on the other side before turning back to you.
Oh, you're polite. I like that. Samuel is my name. I'll ferry you across for 10 provisions
Altın
or
veririm
20
sana.
gold, whichever you prefer.
Altın tercih ederim canım. 20 altın.
You give Samuel the gold, and after a long discussion with the dwarves in the group, you follow him onto the boat. The dwarves literally leap out of the boat as soon as you reach dry land.
We could have died. I hope it was worthwhile, Scholar.
Artık buradayız. Rıhtım. Şu yola gidip dağ yolunu kullanalım mı? Han'a gidelim. Han var. Han'dan sonra Wekeştayn'a gidelim. Bahsedilen yol orasıydı. İyi, güzel gitti. Yani her şey şu an oldukça iyi gidiyor.
A
Yolculuk adına.
two-story tavern
İki
sits
katlı
on
bir
the
han.
corner of a
Bir kavşağın
crossroads.
köşesinde duruyor.
The snow
Binanın
around the
etrafındaki kar
building has been
temizlenmiş ve
cleared
çevreden
away,
sıcak bir
and a
ateş geliyor.
warm light is coming from
Ozan
inside.
Kalesi.
The side
Minstrel Castle.
Tam
That
Rolario'ya
sounds
göre. Çevreye bak.
The old building has nothing in common with a castle.
Han'a gir.
Finally, time for
As much
Hadi
as
bakalım,
I
öyle
hate
diyorsun, öyledir.
agreeing with you, I too can hardly wait.
You enter the tavern with Bavragor and Boindil in front. On first impression, but when you take a closer look, you spot a couple of paintings of minstrels in front of a castle, a small stage that, judging by the dust, is only very rarely used, and a lute
Bir de ut
hanging. There are
varmış.
not very many guests on the ground floor, perhaps a dozen, and most of them belong to a group of mercenaries who have retreated into the far corner.
Yine mi
You
savaşacağız?
sit at a table.
Lop.
You go to the bar where the
Önce bir
landlady is
konuşalım
working
bakalım.
and sit on a stool. The landlady, a stout, middle-aged woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, looks up briefly but says nothing.
Bizde konuşmuyor mu?
Say,
Ozan
why
Kalesi
is the
güzel
tavern
isimmiş
called
diye.
Minstrel Castle?
Oh, you don't know the legend, dwarf.
Neymiş bakalım efsane.
One of the guests next to you at the bar takes up your question.
There was a castle here once. No one knows its name anymore, so everyone just calls it Minstrel Castle. Once upon a time, a king lived in that castle. He had many subjects and an enchanting queen. But one day a young minstrel came along and sang of wonderful far-off lands, and the subjects began to complain about their own lives. So the king sent for the singer to hear for himself. He came and sang a wonderful love song, and the king began to be
Yok ya.
scared. He thought that the minstrel wanted to steal away his queen. Without flinching, he drew his sword and struck the boy down. His father heard of this. He was himself a singer, and so he went to the king and played a terrible song, a curse. The king was to vanish in silence, and no one was to remember his name.
And that's what happened. No one remembers the name of the king or his castle. Make of it what you will. The story's certainly well known enough in the area to give R in its name.
Güzelmiş. Şimdi buradan kumanyamızı alalım biraz biz. Bu ne? Buradan bir alalım. Şunları satalım. Şuradan kumanya alalım biraz. Şöyle kalabalığız. O yüzden bir 100 tane alalım. Hasar alanında alınan hasar %50. O yani devam edelim. Diğerlerinin yanına gitmem
You nod
gerek.
at the landlady.
Handan ayrıl ve
Bavigor and
yolumuza devam
Boindil,
edelim.
who are absorbed in a drinking competition, have to be practically dragged out of the tavern. But in the end,
Wittgenstein'a şurada da bir soru işareti var. Aslında önce buraya uğrayıp 119 günlük erzağımız var. Gücümüz de var yerinde. Allah'a şükür. Şöyle
you spend the night protected from the wind in a ruin, and are sitting around a campfire as the topic of your new companion's performance on the stage comes up.
Sleight of hand, speed, alchemy, and makeup can have an incredible effect. Namora
I also noticed your weapons, Namora. I've never seen such swords before.
bu
Their
gerçekten bir
names
elf
are
herhalde.
Crescent and Sunbeam. I designed them myself. It took a long time until I found a smith who was able to make them.
She looks like a pointy ear, too. Nature hasn't been kind to her.
For this absent-minded remark, Boindil receives evil looks from Namora and grins from the men.
Perhaps I really am an elf and will bring you a nightmare in your sleep tonight. Don't be surprised if you wake up screaming.
For a moment, it seems as though she has merged with the darkness, but when you blink, everything is back to normal.
By the gods, isn't she magnificent in her role?
There is no denying what Rodario said.
Devam.
The group isn't overly friendly towards Geralda, and this evening she's sitting once again apart from the others. You ask yourself what you can do to break the ice when you see that she has a file in her hand. The file is wrapped around with silver wire and has a snap lock. The liquid in it
İçindeki sıvı
is black.
siyah.
Geralda opens the lid and takes a big swig. As she puts down the bottle, a smile flits across her face, followed by a short expression of deep satisfaction. It is the first time that you have seen a positive emotion on the face of the somber dwarf.
Şişede ne var?
Is that medicine?
No, it's. I don't know either. If I don't drink it, I have a longing for it. It gets stronger and stronger until I
Witcher mısın
can't
yoksa
stand
ya?
it
Ha?
anymore. When I drink it, the longing disappears and I feel rested and strong.
And when the file's empty?
I don't know. I don't know where I got the drink from, let alone what it is. But if I don't drink it,
Evet,
frackers
sakin.
give me strength.
Sakin.
I think I would go crazy or die.
Geralda plays with the file, lost in her thoughts, as if she were trying to remember where she saw it for the first time.
Göl yatağına bir gidelim bakalım ne var görelim. Soru
When you
işaretimiz
enter the
neymiş?
pretty little village with its richly ornate houses and its temple to Palandial at its centre, you can see an angry mob some distance away. The villagers are
Oh, yine
hassling a
bir
young
cadı.
woman, insulting her and pushing her to the ground. You
Heh.
push your way through the crowd of people and stand in
Neler
the way
oluyor
of the
burada diyelim.
villagers. A man dressed in richly decorated vestments looks you up and down.
Palandial be with you, dwarf. It is none of your business, but this woman here is a thief. She and her henchmen have emptied the monastery's granary and were willing to abandon us to our fate.
That's a lie. We asked for help and these people turned us away. I came back to ask again.
Hadi. Elinde kanıt var mı?
What
Onu
evidence
çünkü
do you have
suçlayan o.
against this
Onu
woman?
sormamız lazım.
We found the granary broken into. almost a third of our grain and a
Yani?
significant amount of supplies have gone. And all this just one day after she and
Saçmalıyorsun
her
bazen
people
ha.
were snooping around here.
Ya bu rahiplerin hepsinin böyle ya. Böyle
That
delil
isn't
olmaz.
proof. It could simply be coincidence. Anyway, why would a thief come back to the scene of a crime?
The priest eyes you in silence, while some of the villagers make it clear that dwarves should keep their noses out of their business.
Kadına
Tell us
soralım.
what happened.
The villagers grumble,
Zaten
but the
başka bir
priest
seçeneğimiz
gives the
yok.
woman a chance to defend herself.
My name is Tavia. I was forced to flee Tabayin with my family when the perished land began to spread. My husband, we had to leave him behind.
The horror in the woman's eyes gives you a good idea as to what became of her husband.
No one accepted us in the north. There are too many refugees and everyone is scared. Queen Wei has offered land in Wayan to anyone who will work hard for it. But what should we grow if no one will sell us grain? We offered a fair price, but Father Malin,
She darts a scathing gaze at the priest.
he wanted double the amount.
The priest glances briefly at the angry villagers. Then he replies in a firm voice.
It was a hard winter. And with the increasing frequency of orc attacks, we must think of ourselves
Sen nasıl rahipsin
first
be
and
ha? Pis
foremost.
herif.
Even we cannot help everyone.
The bystanders mutter in agreement.
Şimdi güzel bir konuşma yapacağım eminim. Kadını bırak. İsterseniz meseleyi biz soruşturabiliriz. Kadını bırak.
Let the
Kadını
woman
bırak.
go.
The priest looks at you in astonishment. He is not used to being given orders. But before he can reply, you step towards him and beckon him down to you.
Eğer ağzını açarsan şuradaki arkadaşım senin yerine o ağzını geri kapatır. Eğer kadını bırakırsanız onu takip ederiz. Bizi çalıntı mallara götürür. Eli açık biri olduğunu gösterirsen ödüllendirilebilirsin. Bunu
See
diyelim.
it as a chance to prove your generosity. Isn't Queen Wei known for being just, but generous? It could pay off.
It would seem you have caught the priest on the wrong foot.
I will think about it and then decide what should happen next. You there, lock this woman up in the guardhouse.
The woman is taken into a squat building made of rough blocks of stone. The crowd slowly disbands.
Peder Malon ile görüş, ambara gir. Bekçi kulübesine gir. Göletan'a ayrıl. Peder
The
Malon'la bir
priest is
görüşelim
lost in
bakalım.
thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
Bana
I was
Göletan'dan
wondering,
bahset.
what was here
Bakalım.
first, the temple or the village?
A keen eye. The temple is indeed much too big for such a small village. It was built on the foundations of an old stronghold when salt was found nearby. The village has grown over the years in the shadow of the temple. Good people live here, honest and pious children of Pelandil.
He glances at the place where the woman was surrounded.
Why can't we just be left in peace?
Çalınan tahıl ne kadar
Supposing
önemli
Tavia
diye bir
really
soralım
did
bakalım.
steal the grain and supplies, but only to save her family, would you turn a blind eye?
Palandiel teaches generosity, but that too must have its boundaries. We cannot help everyone. At some point there won't be enough for us.
So, if you had sold the grain, the people of Seaton would have starved?
Maybe not. Not yet. But if we always give everything we have away...
Ne
No
kadar
one
alabilir?
is saying always, and no one is saying everything.
The priest shrugs his shoulders apologetically. He doesn't wish to spoil things with his flock.
Gitmemiz
You nod
gerek.
goodbye, and the priest returns the...
Bekçi kulübesine girin. Ambara girelim.
You enter the village's large storehouse. The ground floor of the two-story building is full of turnips, with large barrels and clay pots on the... Several villagers are carrying out stock-taking. They're being supervised by a weedy man who observes them with a grim expression and writes things on...
Olayını
Work is in full swing.
gözlemleyelim.
The man with the wax tablet grumbles now and then in agreement when one of the peasants shouts out a number to him. It shouldn't take too much longer until they finish the inventory. There are sacks
Birinci
piled
kat.
up on top of one another on the first floor. They are most likely filled with different kinds of grain and, judging by the omnipresent white dust, flour.
Biri ateş yakabilir mi? Boş köşeyi incele. Burası çok karanlık. Biri ateş
You
yakabilir mi
look
diye.
around for a portable source of light.
Can anyone see a candle or a torch? I need a light.
I wouldn't recommend that.
The Magister Technicus has followed you into the storehouse.
One spark
gas.
could ignite the flower dust. We sometimes use the effect when we want to create huge balls of fire on the stage.
I think we could do without huge balls of fire in here.
Loş ışıktaki boş
You
köşeyi
walk
inceleyelim
towards
bakalım.
the only area in the storeroom where you can see the floorboards. You hesitate as your boots slip on the floor, as if you're walking on mud.
Tungdil,
The Magister Technicus carefully observes the roof beams above the empty corner. He grabs at a beam and crumbles something between his fingers. You can't make out what it is, so you copy him and feel damp, rotten wood. It's very easy to pull away small pieces.
What are you doing here?
The man with the wax tablet is standing on the stairs. He sounds half angry, half shocked.
No one is allowed in here.
Soruşturuyoruz arkadaş. Sen
Who are
neden
you?
buradasın diye.
What are you doing here if no one is allowed to be here?
I'm allowed to be here. It's my job. I'm the steward of the temple. Morris is my name.
Morris. Bu çatının sızıntı yaptığının farkında mısın?
The rain has gotten here. The roof and the floor are damp.
Those savages. It wasn't enough that they steal from us. They had to damage the roof too. That was probably
Ya
where
ne
they
kadar
got in.
cahilsiniz ya.
the wood didn't start to rot yesterday, good man.
The
Good
steward's
man.
face turns bright red.
And you are the experts on such things, are you?
Assuming the
Kesinlikle.
roof here has been leaky for a long time, what would have happened to the grain in the sacks directly underneath? Wouldn't it have turned rotten?
The man wets his lips. His gaze darts around the room.
The roof was fine. I'll have it repaired. And now,
Morris
get
senden
out
hiç
of here.
hoşlanmadım ha.
The steward angrily blocks off all further attempts at talking to him, and even when you threaten him with Father Malin, it doesn't have the desired effect. The father trusts in him, he says, and he's always been a devout follower. The heavy door of the storehouse closes behind you, and you hear a
Senin
bolt
işin
sliding
bitmedi oğlum.
into place from
Senin
the
işin
inside.
bitmedi Morris. Bekçi
You
kulübesine
enter the
girelim bir de.
guardhouse, and before the guards know, Boindale and Boendal have caught them up in a friendly conversation. Shielded from the view of the guards, you exchange a few words with the suspect without being disturbed.
Halkın ve çalıntı mallar nerede? Neden köye geri döndünüz?
Why did you come back to the village?
I wanted to negotiate with Father Malin for the grain. What else could I do? No sooner had I arrived than they surrounded me and accused me of robbery.
Where have you taken the grain and supplies?
I don't know anything about grain or supplies. Apart from the fact that we could do with both, I'm telling you, I am innocent.
İnandım ben ha.
We won't let anyone do anything to you, but if we are going to help you, you will have to tell us the truth.
The woman looks you in the face, then her head sinks, and when she looks back up, she has tears in her eyes.
Please, I just want to go back to my family. I don't know what happened.
Tungdil.
You feel sympathy towards the woman. You raise your hand to silence Rodario and nod to the woman to continue talking.
We asked for grain and were full of hope when we saw the well-filled granary. But we hadn't reckoned on the malice of the people here.
A slow, ironic clap sounds from behind you. Confused, you turn around to face Rodario.
Bravo, my dear, with tears and
Yapma.
everything. Tough
Kandırıldım
luck
olmasın.
that a master of the art of acting is
İnanmıştım.
present. None of what she said corresponds with the truth, Tungdil. She is lying and trying to deceive us. Not completely talentless for an amateur.
You expect the woman to deny everything, but when she overcomes her amazement, she spits in the actor's face.
Aha.
And what if I am? I would do it all again. The people here have more than they need and my people are starving. Is that fair?
Takıl ve erzakları çaldıktan sonra neden geri döndün?
Why did you come back here after stealing the grain and supplies?
We didn't steal them. We paid for them. A reasonable price, just not to Father Malin.
You had help.
He
Morris
promised us
kesin ha.
3 dozen sacks of grain. When we opened the sacks in our hideout, we realised that most of the grain was rotten. He
Çürümüş.
thought he'd get away with it.
The woman looks around wearily.
And by the looks of things, he has.
Suç ortağının kim
Morris
onu
the
biliyorum.
steward offered you the grain, didn't he?
What does that matter? I've no proof it was him. And even if I did, if I admit that we have the stuff, I'll be hanging from a tree by this evening and my children will
Haklısın, tamam.
starve.
Nasıl
I
çözeceğim ben
beg
bunu
you,
ya?
Let me go. We bought the grain and the supplies. Perhaps he wasn't allowed to sell it to us. But we paid. And with a little seed we can sow, at least some of us have a chance of surviving the year.
Çok daha kolay karar verin. Tahılı geri verirsen Peder Malon merhamet gösterebilir. Bence kilit altında tutulmamalısın. Olmaz. Şimdi bir kere yapmışsın. Şu.
You've stolen, no matter how you put it. But perhaps Father Malin will show clemency if you return the grain.
Clemency for me and a death sentence for my family. Never.
Ben bir çözüm bulana kadar kilit altında tutacaksın. Bizi yalan
How can I
söylemeseydin.
trust you? You lie.
Who wouldn't do everything to offer their children a future? Lying is...
Bir saniye.
Disenchanted by the course the discussion has taken, you shake your head and
Peder
the
Malon ile bir
priest is
görüşelim. bir daha.
lost in thoughts.
Ambarın çatısı
The
sızdırıyor.
roof of the granary is leaky. We saw some.
Again? Morris only had the roof repaired last summer.
Did he? If he didn't, some of the grain would have got damp and rotten.
Out of the question. Morris would have reported that. He checks the grain once a month and there were no complaints.
The priest has absolutely no doubt in what he is saying, often a sign that someone hasn't thought things over.
Evet, birinin olayları tartmadığının alametidir bu.
You nod goodbye.
Bunu
The
tekrar
pri-
konuşabiliyor muyum? Gitmem gerek.
You nod good.
Ben bir şey çözemedim olayı şu an. Nasıl oldu bu iş? Tekrar mı geri gelmem lazım? Şuraya bir bakayım mı?
You enter Seaton and take a.
Aynı şey oldu ya.
You nod.
Keşke serbest bıraksaydık kadını ha.
As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he waves you over.
Esmeralda, my sister. You want to know what happened, right?
Esmeralda.
You nod and sit down.
She followed Boindle into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his liquor.
He killed her. Blinded by the frenzy of battle, he thought she was one of the enemy. I can never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children. You remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you are talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the orcs had robbed him of his love. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react.
Yaralanma yok. Oraya tekrar dönmek istiyorum ben.
When you enter the strongly fortified mountain village, you see a large group of miners standing around a shaft in heated discussion.
I really saw them, I swear!
A young man in mining clothes defiantly stares at an older man who is a good head taller than him.
Even if you did, smashing the lift hoist, it would have been better to have not sent the cage down again until we cleared this thing up.
Is there a problem?
The older man, perhaps a foreman, is so angry that he hardly seems to have realized that he's talking to a dwarf.
Mika here says that he saw orcs in the mine, and he smashed the lift hoist to bits. The cage has crashed to the bottom of the shaft. How are we supposed to work now?
Biz girelim bir bakalım mı? Eğer madende gerçekten oklar varsa doğru olanı yapmış.
I would say he did the right thing. If the orcs have managed to come up through the mine, then you all might be dead.
I heard they were just grunting. And the stench. It was unbearable. You should have been there. I just wanted to save the village.
The young man and the foreman look...
All right, all right. Mika might not be the sharpest tool in the box, but the boy has guts. If he says there were orcs down there, then there were orcs down there.
Hallederiz be. Tamiratta yardım lazım mı?
Can we help you?
Help?
Yaparız.
Well, we'll have to repair the hoist, and we need a new cage.
The foreman turns to a man next to him for answers. He's just as muscular, with dirty, calloused hands.
It will take at least 2 weeks, but we don't need any help, unless you can speed up time.
I'll need 1 day. 2 at the most, if there are problems.
The foreman looks aghast at the Technicus, unsure whether he's joking.
1 day?
Fergus is the most talented Magister Technicus in Girdlegard. And anyway, what have you got to lose?
As long as he doesn't get in my way.
The worker...
Size yardım edeceğiz.
Good,
Karşılıksız.
we'll help you. And
Tamam
we
mı?
don't want anything in return.
Yetecek kadar erzağımız var.
That's generous.
The foreman looks at you distrustfully. Fergus immediately gets to work, examining the hoist. After a few moments, he sends Mika off with a list of tools and spare parts, and explains to you how to build the cage. While he takes care, after half a day, the cage is operational again, but Fergus is still busy with the hoist. You just hear him muttering.
So far, there is no automatic brake in case the ropes snap, but it shouldn't be too hard to fit one.
Otomatik fren sistemini yerleştir. Üzülmektense tedbirli olmak iyidir.
Fergus decides to fit the automatic brake, but it takes more time than expected. Building the hoist from scratch would have been simple, but the upgrade turns out to be complicated. In
Sorun
the
değil.
end, it takes 2 days until the lift is operational again. After the work is done, you report to the foreman. A huge grin spreads across the foreman's face. You have just saved him a lot of time and effort.
We can't let you leave empty-handed. Here, at least take some provisions for your journey. And if you ever need some extra brute force against the orcs, I'm sure we can find 10 men who'd be happy to learn from you.
Milislerden seninle gelmelerini iste. Hayır. Madendeki orkların nereden geldiğini öğren. Tüccarın satılıkta olan mallarına bir bak. Biraz daha kumanda alabilirim. Kumanda yalnız. Aslında almasam da olur da. Şöyle bir yine bir yüzleyelim. Madendeki orkların nereden
You
geldiğini
travel
öğren.
down into the mine in the repaired lift. Mika shows after 1,000 paces you stopped counting, and only after several hours do you reach an exit. There's a stench of tallow in the air. The tunnel leads directly into a huge... If you attacked from here, you'd have the element of surprise on your side.
Dalarım o zaman.
I could go and take a look and perhaps improve our chances for an attack.
You remember how the actor had transformed himself into Lot Yonin and Nudin in Mifidania. You certainly wouldn't bet against him being able to walk.
I'll come with you. If I stay in the shadows, they won't see me.
The actor nods gratefully.
I'll come too. I also know how to keep myself hidden.
Namora
Hadi.
wants to object, but you are quicker.
Thank you, Geralda. 2 more eyes and ears would be helpful on such a mission.
Kampa sızma vakti.
Listen, try to sabotage their defenses, and if you can safely take out a couple of guards, then do it. But don't take any big risks. Come back here if things get too...
Namora and Rodario rejoin you without any particular urgency. The infiltration was a complete success. No one detected the two of them.
Şimdi ork kampına müthiş bir saldırı yapacağız. Ve şeyleri alacağız. Ama videoyu burada sonlandıralım. Bir sonraki videoda ork kampına saldırıp neler yapabileceğimize bakalım. Ondan sonra da yolumuza buradan mı devam ederiz yoksa Wekenstein'dan mı devam ederiz bir bakalım. Şuradaki gizemi çözemedik. Oraya da şu şekilde şurayı dolanmayı düşünüyorum. O halkını bulabilirsem belki oradan mı geleceğiz? Onu da tam bilmiyorum. Öyle bakalım. Bir sonraki videoda görüşmek üzere. Oldukça etkileyici bir oyun olduğunu söyleyebilirim. Oynamaktan zevk alıyorum. Biraz fazla şey var tabi. Aksiyondan uzak ama yani idare eder. Güzel bir oyun diyebiliriz. Hem Steam'de de oldukça ucuzdu. Bir sonraki videoda görüşürüz. Dostlar, hoşça kalın.